Hi, my name is Michael TheZorch, and I am the creator of the series An Old Gamer Plays. Today we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look at the making of An Old Gamer Plays, as well as a little bit of a discussion into why I created the series and why it's called An Old Gamer Plays. So come with me while I take you on a journey to show you exactly how these episodes are made, and also talk about the motivations behind why I created this show. So let's begin. As a child, I grew up being told that when you get older, when you become an adult, you have to give up things that you did when you were younger because it was supposedly quote unquote mature. As I grew up and became an adult myself, I began to notice that the people around me were miserable, and I realized why. Sure, being an adult means that you have responsibilities, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop doing things that made you happy. It doesn't mean you have to let those things go. That's not maturity, that's foolishness. Because I've seen older people who are just angry and cynical at the world, and I figured out the main reason why is because they bought into this whole idea that you have to be a certain way in order for society to deem you mature, and it completely kills their joy. That's why I named the series An Old Gamer Plays. Basically to show that if you liked playing video games, sure, you have responsibilities, you have to do certain things first, that's what any mature person has to do. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you have to give up playing them. It doesn't mean you have to give up doing the things that you liked doing. Yes, you have responsibilities to do, but then after that, you can do the things that make you happy. There are 90-year-olds who surf, who go out surfing. There are old 90-year-old grandmothers who go out riding motorcycles. I've seen a 90-year-old grandmother in biker leathers riding around on a chopper, and her life is just filled with happiness and joy. Why? Because she's doing the things that she loves to do. That you can be a responsible adult while still enjoying the things that you loved doing when you were younger. And that is why this series is called An Old Gamer Plays. That's why I fully believe that following the so-called societal norms of giving up the things that you enjoy just because you grow up is complete foolishness, and it's harmful, and that you do it and you don't fill your life with something else that gives you joy, that makes you happy, you're just going to grow up to be mean and cynical and angry at the world. And nothing's gonna fill your life with joy unless you do the thing that brings you the highest excitement. Now there's the key, following your highest excitement. Because I had that notion in my mind before I got involved in a lot of the New Age spiritualism that I'm involved in now. And that corroborates it completely. I realized it's true. It's all true. All the things that I've been reading, a lot of it I run into in my life. And so it's lend proof to these things I'm learning. Is why I wholeheartedly follow it. And I try to bring a lot of that into the work that I make. Try to bring some aspects of that into shows that I do on my own channel, Zorch Central, which is a series Chloe and the Professor. Now, one of the parts of making an old gamer plays involves using software called Open Broadcaster. Now, there's a great article on how to use Open Broadcaster to capture, video games, and I'm going to link to that was written by the head of Gamers Bay himself, and it's on Medium, so I'm going to put a link to that in the video description below. OBS is video capture software. OBS is open source video capture software that runs on multiple platforms. You can run it on Linux, is what I'm doing right now. You can run it on Windows, and I believe also there's a Mac version. Now you can use OBS to capture, output from a video game. Does that actually pretty well. You could use Fraps for that, but there is a problem with Fraps. One, it records in a RAW format, which takes up a great deal of disk space, and it can also have compatibility issues with a lot of games. Video capture software like this has those kinds of problems. Even OBS doesn't work with everything. Now, to get around that particular problem, I use video capture hardware. You can use a video capture card internally or externally. I use an external video capture device. Now, this captures via HDMI, and it captures both video and audio. It can capture up to 1080p. I do my native resolution of 1360 by 768. That's because of the display I have. So it goes from my video card to a splitter, which strips off the HDCP, and then goes to this, and then this is plugged into my Linux system. And OBS then scales that to 720p. And then when I get the video after I'm done recording, I get the video, I bring it over into my video editor, and I can upscale that to 1080p. And it's all 60 frames per second. This captures at 60 frames per second. And other video cards, other video devices can capture at 30 frames per second or at 60. This one can capture natively at 60, which gives much more fluid video. Now, when you're recording a video game gameplay, some things may not go right all the time. Either your first playthrough of a game was either complete crap, you made some mistakes. I mean, I've done that a few times. I made mistakes, and sometimes I've had to go back and restart. A few times I leave that in the video. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have to do at least 3 or 4 different takes to get the video right. Like doing this show right here, I've had to do at least a dozen takes to make this go. In fact, I've gotten to the point to where, if I speak for too long, I start to lose my train of thought, start to ramble a little bit. What I have started doing is recording in smaller snippets and then editing those all back together. Now, the owner of Gamers Bay has done a great article on Medium about, making good videos, and he's got a little tutorial on OBS. What I want to do is show you a little bit of how I set OBS up for doing various recordings for my live streams on Zorch Central when I'm doing Elite Dangerous, as well as a lot of other stuff that I do. So let's pop on over to OBS and let me show you exactly how I set things up. Okay, this is OBS, aka Open Broadcaster, and this is the exact setup that I use to record stuff for An Old Gamer Plays and my streams of Elite Dangerous and anything else I basically do gameplay wise. I use this for everything except for Chloe the Professor. That's done a different way. And you can see here I have scenes set up. This is a redundant one. I don't use this anymore because I figured it's pretty redundant, because in those days multiplayer games on the Atari 2600 wasn't played that way. You sat on the couch with your friends and you played the game. They didn't have their own Atari 2600s. They didn't see their own separate screens. So having a video screen that separates out what I see and what the other person sees doesn't make sense, because they both saw the same screen at the same time when they played the game originally. Now, for games like Elite Dangerous or anything else that I might play with TigerCon or anyone else, that makes sense. Now, as for the game capture, this is going through that USB 3.0 capture device that you saw. So let's get back to the intro screen and let me tell you exactly how I set all these things up. I use these sources, and most of these are images. The changing channel logo down here, I have all these locked so they don't get accidentally moved. It's basically a sort of an image slideshow, and I have them on loop. I set how they change. I set the fade effect so it switches between them. These are just basically images up here for my handles for social networking for Twitter, Google Plus, and Facebook. And these were created on flamingtext.com. You can go there and you can create whatever kind of text you want in whatever kind of image type you want. You can choose, a background color, or you can choose a transparent background. It will produce it for you. You can either directly download them and it will put some kind of watermark in them, but you can still use them however you want, or you can buy them and that removes the watermark if you don't want the watermark in the images. But you can still use them however you want. And so I've got a lot of sources here. Now there's the webcam source, which of course has this webcam set up in it, and this shows up as a UVC webcam. That's the USB video protocol that it's using. And then I have the mic, which is my Yeti microphone. And that's about it for this screen. On the game screen, I removed these social networking links. I have the same kind of the image down here for the channels. I'm gonna have to resize this because I switched to a different camera. But I have this here. It's basically switching back and forth between the two. I have the webcam set up, and I have the game audio, which is a separate audio capture source, which is coming through the HDMI video capture. And you can see here, you know, if there was audio coming from my other machine, it would be here. I wouldn't be able to hear this here unless I set that up. There is a way to set that up now in OBS. Let's see. It's not in this screen. But there was a way to set that up so that you can monitor the audio from whatever source you were recording. But I don't normally set that up because I don't want that to come through. Now, this is redundant. I don't use this anymore. I had Tigress screen here, I had this image here, and then this one here, and then the output from my game here. This is similar to the setup I use for the streams for Elite Dangerous. And again, I have that image playlist here going through the two images for the Zorch Central and Gamers Bay channels. I have the images for my name and TigerCon. That's his handle. And here I have the input from my USB video capture. And over here, this works a little differently. How this picks up video from his machine is he is transmitting via a URL. UDP over our network. How he does that is he, instead of recording to a file, he's recording to a network URL. And OBS sees it as a VLC stream. VLC, the video player, VLC, what a lot of people don't know is that it can stream video. You can not only playback video streams, but you can stream out video from a computer with VLC. You can set up a playlist and you can have it stream video, and you can set it on a loop and just have it constantly streaming video out to a URL. You can also do video conversions, video and audio conversions with VLC. It's not quite as straightforward. I wish they improved that UI. But this is basically how I use it. And all I have to do is just push the record button to start recording, or hit the stream button to start streaming. This profile is not set up for... I believe this is set up for streaming to just Gamers Bay. I have another profile that's set to stream to restream.io. Let me switch to that profile. Now this streams to restream.io, and what that is that's a service where I stream to them, and then they split the stream and they send it to either, well, they send it to two sources. They send it to YouTube and they send it to Twitch. Again, over here I have that network stream for TigerCon, so that, you know, when he's playing Elite Dangerous, he'll show up here. My screen with Elite Dangerous will show up here, and I have all these sources set up, and I have a lot of these scenes set up. And there's like background music that I use for this. There's the webcam, the social media links, the mic. For this, I have a compressor and a noise gate set up for the audio so that it blacks out any background noises. I have my names. I have the text for Restream.io. I also have red text of live that I sometimes remove if I'm just pre-recording. If I'm not pre-recording, then I'll have it up there so that people know that, you know, we're live online. I had the text here for things that I'm using head tracking. I've got a head tracking software that uses a webcam to track me, so that when I'm looking around, I can look around in the game doing this because I don't have a VR headset. It sort of kind of works. I'm still tweaking it. And then the game video, which that's my screen here. And then the other scenes. When I start out, I have my fair use disclaimer. This is, let me lock these. This is what it looks like when they're not locked. That way you can resize and move elements. But I'm going to lock them so that they can't be altered. And this is for, you know, when we're starting to stream and we're still setting things up and I'm still moving into position and everything, I'll have this on the screen. Then the intro. This is where I intro everything. Standby, that's for when, you know, we take a break midstream. We've done this a few times. Next game, that's a GIF image. OBS will play GIF images in the background, and this is just text. I can set the color, 2 different color gradients, and I can change the fonts. I can select what fonts I want to use. This is the screen you'll see most of the time. Now up here in this screen, you would see the text chat from Restream.io, and what that does is that takes the text feed from both Twitch and YouTube and puts them together here. So I don't need to have the text chat screens from both sites. I can just use Restream.io's text chat, and it will show me whatever anyone's saying on either page. Then of course my screen here, my name, so that people will know, you know, which one they're looking at, and TigerCon's over here. Then if I'm specifically doing something in the game, I need to focus on my screen. I can switch to this so that people can get a larger view of what I'm doing. I still have the webcam here. I still have the image playlist playing for the channel. And then the same thing for TigerCon, except I'm down here now. Over here, I would appear in this corner, where you would appear in this corner here. And then I appear in this corner, and this is an area where you would see his screen. And that's the error screen, and that was set up to be monitored. And then thank you at the end. And soon after that, I conclude the stream. So this is how I basically do things in OBS. You saw for the show I do for Gamers Bay, and also the live stream that I do on my channel, Zorch Central. Another thing that can take a long time for making videos is scripting. Now, I don't script most of my videos because, for one, starting out with this, I get nervous in public speaking, and I wanted to get over that particular problem, especially if I was talking on a camera. I've gotten a lot better since then. I've greatly improved through, if you watch my videos from the very first one, now you notice I've gotten way better. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but when I was growing up, I was very hyperactive, and I had a mild case of ADD. Not that bad. My oldest son has it really bad, and he's almost 19. He's developmentally an 11-year-old. But right now, I don't have so much the hyperactive problem. I do still tend to have some ADD issues. Not so bad. I mean, oh, shiny object. I mean, not that bad. But the way I deal with it is to stay on track. I tend to ramble a lot. If you ever watch my live streams, I'll try to record shorter clips where I have something specific to say, some specific subject, and I'll record a shorter clip for that. And sometimes it takes me a few times to do that clip properly. This one in particular has taken me 3 times to do this. Also, another thing you have to take into consideration for recording like I do is you have to worry about lighting, because different cameras have different requirements when it comes to lighting. Now, as you saw in the intro to this show, my lighting is just a clip-on desk lamp. That's the light that you see in here. I also have a colored USB strip hanging on my wall. The lighting is important. On the USB strip I have, that's an RGB, well, not technically RGB, it's different colored LEDs on a strip that combine to produce white light or different colored lighting. But lighting is important. I don't have proper studio lighting because it's pretty expensive, and I'm on a fixed income, so I can't afford a lot of those. And what I'm basically using is just a cheap webcam. Now, I was using this thing, which was about $30 when I bought it. That's what I'd been recording with for all of my other previous videos in the series. Now I'm using a Logitech C270, and I use that. I originally bought that because I wanted to use it for head tracking software for Elite Dangerous when I was doing my Elite Dangerous live streams, and it sort of works. I'm still tweaking it. Now, when making the show, another consideration that I make, and that you should make also, is audio. Now, I've got the game audio, that's handled by the capture card, but capturing your voice, too many people use cheap mics when they make their shows, and you can tell because their audio quality is awful. Now, here I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone. This is a professional mic. It's on a shock mount and on a arm, so I can keep it held up so that you can properly hear me. Now, at the same time, in OBS, I run that through a couple of filters. Sometimes I'll use a compressor, and most times I'll use a noise gate. Now, what that does is that prevents the mic from picking up any extra sounds. Sort of acts like noise canceling. Because I've got a fan running most of the time, because this room with my machines and everything in it, and also because of the fact I'm furthest away from the air conditioner and heater, this room during the summer gets hot, really warm, and it stays a little cooler in the winter also, because again, I'm the furthest away from the heat. Now, you don't necessarily need an uber expensive mic like this. You could get a cheaper Blue Snowball or another cheaper, good quality mic like this. But most gaming headset mics and most desktop mics are off pretty bad. So you would want something pretty good. This was actually one of the last things I bought from Radio Shack before they closed. So you do have to take sound quality into consideration when you're doing videos like this, and I do, because the one thing that I've learned, even from myself, one thing that I've learned is nothing puts people off more than bad audio. Because if you've got a video that's got great video production quality, you've got this, I've seen YouTubers who have these elaborate intro sequences, but then when it comes to the actual content themselves, it sounds like they're talking through a cup and a string, and that puts people off. You want your audio to be good. That's why I use a mic like this. Why I paid almost $150 for one of these, which is almost well out of my usual budget range. Now, once I've got all the clips recorded and I've got the gameplay recorded, I can then take it into my video editing software. Now, you can use Adobe Premiere if you want. That's if you've got $50 a month to be able to spend for a subscription to their Creative Cloud. Now, it's a little out of my budget range, so I use a software called Hitfilm. Now, Hitfilm is free software, although there are paid components. I only use the base free version, and it basically has all the bells and whistles that I currently need. Although I'm going to be looking into getting more of the more paid components. All you have to do is buy them once and they're yours for the life of the software. But you need, in order to edit the clips, you can't edit clips with Windows Movie Maker. You can take clips that you've recorded and put them together and make a longer video, but actually editing the clips themselves, which I have to do with this video specifically, you need a non-linear video editor. Because a non-linear video editor is the only thing that you can use, basically cut parts out of clips that, or edit clips to remove things that you don't want in the video. And so that would let you do it. Now, the editor that I use is a non-linear video editor. That's Hitfilm 2017. Now, some people who get into YouTube, get into making videos, some of them have actually gone to school for filmmaking and art. I never had that kind of education. Yes, I've been to college, but I never majored in art, I never majored in filmmaking. And some people have. Some people who are doing tech channels and gaming channels and stuff, they've actually gone to school for this sort of thing. So they learned how to do video editing in a classroom. I never did. Everything that I do on this show, all the setting up and everything, all the recording and everything that I do with OBS and the recording with the cameras and everything, just the webcam, and then the recording of the gameplay and all the editing and the cuts and everything, every bit of that is completely self-taught. I never attended any classes. I only watched a few tutorial videos on how to do things, and then I had help from TigerCon, who has Adobe Creative Cloud and knows how to use a non-linear video editor. But everything else is completely stuff that I learned how to do on my own completely. Okay, so once you have all your clips recorded, everything recorded, then you take it over to your video editing software. So let's go look at Hitfilm 2017. I'll show you a little bit of what I do, to create an episode of this show. I'll show you, piecing together a few clips and show you exactly, basically how I do this. And everything that I do is all self-taught. All right, we're here in Hitfilm 2017. Just gonna put a small sequence together to show you basically how I produce an episode of this show. So I would start with copyright disclaimer, which I created using Hitfilm. It was originally an image that I would put in here to set the length time that the image would play, and I decided to turn it into a small video clip. That way I don't have to keep resizing it every time I put it in here. Now I'm going to snap in the title screen. The size is a little larger, so I'll fit that screen. Then I will take this image and it will play through the entire sequence of this clip. But it's a little big, so what I will do is I will drag this. Drag the image, bring it down, move it into position, and there you have it. That's how I do the title sequence. Then I'll take another clip in the sequence. I may add in some transitions, Like here, let's do a video transition of dissolve transition. I do like using cross dissolves. Go into these. And I'll put a cross dissolve on this as well, so that it fades in and out along with the clip. And cross dissolve here. I may put it at the beginning of this so that it fades in when the video starts. And this is what it looks like when it does this. Are you sick of all the drama in gaming social? Right. And then I may put in some audio. So let's put in some audio. Let me import audio into this. Go right where I'm at. And I'll usually utilize a couple of songs for this show. This is the one that I will mostly use. This or this. So put this one in here. Take a few seconds for it to load in. Processed. Put it into the audio. Add another audio channel. Flip. Audio channel. A little long. What I can do is then grab my slice tool, slice it off at the end, leave the rest. Now it's going to be a little loud along with the audio clip, so I'll bring it down a little bit, the volume down. And then what I can do, I can go back over to effects, and I can go to audio effects. I can do a fade here at the end, clip. And then that will make the music fade out over time. And I can lengthen and shorten this if I want. Then when I get to the end of a clip, what I will do, I'll get to the end, I'll set the out point, I'll come back to the beginning, set the end point, and that'll be the clip. Are you sick of all the drama in gaming social media? Then come on over to the official Gamers Bay community in Google+. We're a fun, safe, and drama-free community. Links are found in the video description. And that's how I basically put together an episode. Put in transitions, we'll edit clips that are, the raw clips, to take out the parts where I begin the clip and end the clip before I start talking, so that it all seamlessly fits together. That's basically how I put this together. Now, Chloe and the Professor, I do something a little differently. Plotagon now lets you actually save your videos directly to the hard drive instead of having to grab them off their website. So I'm able to output directly to the hard drive and build an episode that way. So this is basically how I build an episode for an Old Gamer Plays or any other pre-done episodes. This has been one of the more difficult videos I've made in a while. Mainly because of the sheer number of clips and how much editing I had to do for this episode. And also the OBS section and the video editing section where I showed you how I put things together with Hitfilm 2017, that took at least 4 takes each. Now some people believe that making videos on YouTube isn't a real job and it's easy to do this. It's not. It takes time. It takes money to produce these videos, because you have to have the equipment, you have to have the video hardware. I don't have the most expensive hardware, but it takes money to do this, and it takes time to do this, because it's taken several days and several hours for me to make this video. So some people do this as a job. They make a lot of money doing this. They don't go to a 9-to-5 job. They actually do this for a living. So yes, it's a real job, and no, it's not easy. Now, just because it's not easy doesn't mean it can't be fun. And it doesn't mean that it can't be rewarding. This is the whole following your highest excitement thing that I spoke of earlier, in regards to the spiritual beliefs I follow. But actually, it takes a lot of work to make these videos, but I actually like doing it. I actually like doing it, and I believe that making these videos and a lot of other things I do is following my highest excitement. So this has been a look at how I make episodes of An Old Gamer Plays, or how I basically produce any video here on Gamers Bay and on my channel. Now it's a little different how I make episodes of Chloe the Professor. I did a video of that on Zorch Central, and I may do another behind the scenes video of how I produce shows on that show. It's a more updated version of what I have done originally. Myself and the owner of Gamers Bay put a lot of hours into producing the videos that we make. He does a lot of hard work on his videos, and I put a lot of hard work into mine. So, as I said, in making videos on YouTube, it's not easy, but it can be fun and rewarding. And this has been a look at how I make these episodes. So, I'm going to thank you for joining me on this behind the scenes look at An Old Gamer Plays. This has been basically a behind the scenes look at how I produce basically everything here except for Chloe the Professor over on Zorch Central. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Are you sick of all the drama in gaming social media? Then come on over to the official Gamers Bay community in Google+. We're a fun, safe, and drama-free community. Links are found in the video description. If you like this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe. Also, here's a couple other videos you might find interesting.